Hi guys, welcome back. This is Professor Hank, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about a question. I had a student ask me uh, when I first started teaching. This was like 5, 6 years ago or something like that. I've been teaching for like 7.5, 8 years in April. Um, but anyway, so this was a question that they asked, and it was interesting, and I was shocked by my answer to this. It wasn't like something related to systems programming or operating systems or data structure like that. It was more philosophy question, I guess, maybe. And that's probably the wrong term. But anyway, so they asked me um, something along the lines of, "Hey, do you think it's anybody who's teaching a subject should have experience in that subject, or should be an expert in that subject, right? So it should be if somebody's teaching programming class, should they have like 20 years job experience programming or something like that?" Your initial reaction, I mean, when I was a student, there's logic in that, right? That they were arguing, well, yeah, if you're teaching how to program, you should be a professional programmer and all that. And it makes sense. I mean, ideally, yeah, sure, of course. But my answer was no, I don't think so. And I was shocked when I thought about it to say that, and I thought about it more, and it hit me because I worked in the industry. I got 10 years of industry related experience, and then I was a student. Weren't we all? But I mean, I was a student, and then I graduated and been teaching at the university, the institution that I graduated from. And so now I'm on this side of the desk, right? I mean, I'm at the front of the room now, talking to people instead of sitting in the room listening, being talked at. And, my view on that changed. I would have thought the total same thing. I would have thought, yeah, well, yeah, of course. But now that I have to um, explain stuff to people and communicate ideas and concepts and try to break stuff down into more easily digestible format, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that you have to be an expert in the subject matter that you're teaching. I don't think you have to be. I mean, I say that. I mean, you have to know more than who you're teaching, right? You don't have to have a PhD in computer science to be able to teach somebody to program. You just don't, right? I mean, PhD is more theoretical stuff. I mean, if you're going to teach somebody, what's int main, you have to have a PhD to do that. No, you don't have to have a PhD to do that. I don't have a PhD. I have a master's degree. I mean, I have 4 degrees, but it's not. I don't have a PhD. Because, and this is why. This is why I don't think so. Because haven't we all had those classes? Haven't you all been in those classes? You've had that professor who it was totally obvious that they were genius. Maybe they were an expert in their field. They knew what the heck they were doing in terms of the subject matter, the material, but they couldn't teach with a damn. you know, Some of you are laughing because you know what I'm talking about, right? You've been in classrooms where this guy sucks. I'm gonna do another video on that too. I mean, but you can tell they don't know how to teach, right? So the thing is that teaching at a program, or any subject really, teaching a subject is a lot different than programming. Teaching something is different than doing it. And you hear that too. Those who can do, those who can't teach. Well, some of us got sick of doing and would rather just teach. They forget about that. But teaching is a completely separate skill. It is a completely separate skill. I see my job not as being an expert in everything that I ever taught ever. It's more about taking difficult ideas and breaking it down into digestible, understandable content, right? Distilling really complex topics into stuff that people can understand, right? So I mean, you look at somebody like Neil deGrasse Tyson, for example. Well, that's a guy who is expert in his field. Nobody's going to argue that that guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, right? But that's not what makes him really good at what he does. That's not what makes him awesome. Okay, what makes him awesome is that he understands what he's talking about, and he can communicate it to people in ways that they understand. That's his skill. That's what makes him special. Okay, and so I see my job as somebody who tries to do that. Right, I figure stuff out and try to figure out a way to deliver that content in ways that people can understand. Right, I'm not an expert in every single topic that I teach. Right, I don't have a PhD in artificial intelligence. I don't have a PhD in, but what I can do is I can understand it. I can break it down, and I can distill it to people in ways that they can understand it and remember it, right? And that's a completely different skill. I think people who are in the industry, 30 years of experience, are like, oh yeah, now I'm gonna teach. I'm gonna hop in the classroom and just everyone's gonna love me. If you don't have that skill, you're not gonna be a teacher. You're gonna suck at it, and so it's a different thing. I don't think if you can't teach, if you can't break it down where people can easily digest it, you might have invented computers, right? You might have invented all the computer programming languages in the world, but if you can't explain it to people, it don't matter. It don't matter at all, right? So you have to have that skill of being able to explain it to people. That's what's the most important. Now, if you have industry experience, if you are an expert in your field, that's way better, right? But consider, for example, elementary school teachers, right? I use absurd examples all the time for clarity, right? It's a stupid example, but you'll understand, I hope, what I mean. Somebody who's an elementary school teacher, right? First grade, second grade teacher, whatever, okay? And they're teaching basic arithmetic. 5 plus 2 is 7. Is that person a mathematician? No, right? But are they a good teacher? Can they teach math well? Well, it depends, right? I mean, can they communicate the content in a way that is easily digestible by the students in their classes, right? If they can do that, then they're an effective teacher, right? If they can't, it doesn't matter if they have a PhD in mathematics. It just doesn't matter because nobody's going to learn from them. Okay, I think that's the case with teachers just in general. And because I got people in my classrooms who know more about this than I do. I mean, because they've been in the industry more recently than me, and they're on the cutting edge of technology, and I forget stuff, and they correct me, and I thank them for it because it makes me a better instructor. But the difference between professors and students is that we've forgotten more about the subject than when you walk into the classroom, right? And that sounds, I don't know how that sounds, but it's true. I mean, I've forgotten more about some of the stuff that I teach than when you first walk into the classroom, right? And so, I can go back and brush up on a textbook. I mean, you can look up all the information. You can teach yourself all the information what you study in school. You absolutely could, right? I mean, all the materials out there, we got the internet. But can you understand it? I mean, you go and you just grab an AI textbook, right? Grab the predominant AI textbook that's out there right now. Can you read that and understand it on the first read? Right? Maybe not. A good instructor is going to be able to distill that information to you to where you can consume it and make it sense. Take the complex and make it simple. Right? That's a challenge. Making something complex simple is difficult, and that's what I strive to do. Because any fool can make something simple overly complicated. So yeah, I mean, my answer to that question was kind of a surprise. Because I thought, oh yeah, of course, you should be an expert. You should have industry experience. none of that matters if you can't explain it to somebody. You know, you have to be able to explain something to somebody in a way that they can understand it. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. Right. So anyway, so that was just something that I thought I would share, and just something to think about. And it might explain, you know, why you've had that class where you're like, what the hell? This guy's a CEO of a tech company. Why can't he? Why can't I learn from this guy? Right? It just could be like he just doesn't know how to teach. Right? I mean, maybe it was obvious to you, but it was surprising to me. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.